E.N.D here. Today we're going to discuss sealed products for Magic the Gathering versus singles. Which is the most worth it to invest in, to collect in? That is sealed products like this Eternal Masters, or singles like these 3 cards. For an investor, for a collector, obviously both collectors and both investors want to see their collection, their investment appreciate in value. They want to see their collection gaining prices higher, so that they can sell them at a higher price and gain some profits. For us collectors, we do appreciate that we have box sealed products like this Masters 25, or also, let me put here an Eternal Masters, sealed products like these that we bought them, let's say, for $200, $190, and then we appreciate that after 2-3 years these type of products now they are worth more than the time that we bought them. Obviously, for collectors and investors, it's very important that you buy. I know there are out there a lot of collectors that like singles cards. They like to play with them, they like to collect them, they want to keep them in mint position. But in the case of singles, these cards are prone to mass reprints. So in my opinion, the only singles that I would buy for my collection, the only singles that I would buy as an investment, these cards are only reserve list cards like this Lion's Eye Diamond. Reserve list cards are cards that will not be printed in any future Magic the Gathering product. This is something that Wizards of the Coast has always kept as a promise for now more than 20 years, and be assured, and I think one of the only things that I can guarantee, the reserve list will never be broken, and those cards on the reserve list will never be reprinted. So in terms of singles, as a collector, as an investment, the only card that I would consider buying are those on the reserve list. Obviously, even cards on the reserve list have their peak and their low, so there's no guarantee that a card on the reserve list will continue to grow in price. On the other side, there's also some chances that the card could also be much lower in price. The second type of single cards that I would consider as a collection or as an investment, those are Alpha. Alpha is the first set for Magic the Gathering. Here I have, you can see here, this is SR Ranger Alpha. This is a very high plate, medium to high plate card. These are the only cards that I would consider buying as a collection or as investment, only because Alpha print run was extremely low, extremely low, and there are not a lot of these cards in circulation. Rare cards, there's an estimation of 1,100 cards, just to give you the idea how much rare these cards are. The only card that I can or I consider to buy as an investment is this card. This is the only card from, let's say, the modern era, Splinter Twin. Splinter Twin, in my opinion, is the only card that I would consider buying as an investment. These cards are very low. We're talking about $6. The only reason because these cards are very low, only because this card is banned in modern, and this card is the only card that I would consider invest in going forward. The only reason is that, into my opinion, but this is only my opinion, Splinter Twin will eventually get unbanned in modern, and when this happens, this card will spike in price. Obviously, you have to sell those cards ASAP, or otherwise there will be a reprint of Splinter Twin, and be assured that this price will tank again. So these are the only 3 categories that I would invest in or collect. The other singles, I wouldn't even touch them. The only reason is because they are prone to mass reprints. So let me give you a couple of examples what I mean prone to mass reprints and what will happen to their price. Here I have a couple of examples. I have a couple of examples. Rigid Import was reprinted in Masters 25. In my opinion, Masters 25 was a disappointment set. This card, you can see, it had a price of around $150. As soon as it was reprinted, you can see here a big decline in price. Now it's being traded at around $34, and here I'm talking about the original reprint for McCarthy Musk. I'm not talking about the Rigid Import in Masters 25. That card is around $12. Sorry. Rigid Import is a very good example of what can happen with mass reprints. If someone has bought these cards for $120, $130, now he has lost more than 80% of that investment. So any card that is not on the reserve list can be reprinted in any set, in any master set, in any new reprint set. We'll have a lot of reprint sets, I'm sure about it. So be aware when buying singles, even from old sets like McCarthy Musk. Imperial Recruiter, this is another big example. This is from Portal 3 Kingdoms. This is this particular set, Portal 3 Kingdoms, has a very low print run. It's a very rare to find even in sealed, and very expensive if you find some boxes in sealed. We're talking about thousands of dollars. This card, you can see here, was being traded at around $400. We're talking between $350 and $400. As soon as it was reprinted in Masters 25, a big decline in price, and now it's being traded at around $130. You can see that this card is not on the reserve list. This card is from a set that is very old. We're talking about 20 years ago. Even though this card is so old, because it was reprinted in a master set, was reprinted in a reprint set, we see that the card has declined to $130. More examples. Card Liberated. Let's say a card from a recent, more recent set, from New Phyrexia. The card was being traded at around $100. Obviously, the card has seen a lot of reprints in master sets. This is the original New Phyrexia, and now from a price of around $100, the card is being traded at around $60. So you can imagine, if today I have, let's say, I want to buy 100 Card Liberated from New Phyrexia, my spend will be, let's say, $5,700. If this card gets reprinted in the future in another master set, in another special set, I will lose money. So you can see how much money you can lose with investing in single cards. Tarmogoyf, this is the original future site Tarmogoyf. This card was being traded more than $200. More than $200. Future site print run is very low compared to today's standards. The card was being traded at around $200. Obviously, it was mass reprinted in various master sets, in Ultimate Masters, and nowadays the card from future site is being traded at around $80. So you can imagine someone that bought, I don't know, 100 cards at $200, how much money he lost with the reprints. So be aware, reprints of single cards, that they are not on the reserve list. Here we have an example where on low value, Might of Old Croza from Time Spiral. This card, the highest point was around $10. It was a very good card. Obviously this is an uncommon. The other cards were rare or mythics. This is an uncommon. You can imagine at an uncommon reprint, the card tanked to less than $2. So imagine having, I don't know, 100 of Might of Old Croza from Time Spiral. You can imagine how much money you can lose with these reprints. So be aware of singles. More examples. Misra's Bubble. You can see the card was being, this is an uncommon card from Cold Snap. This card was being traded at $60 at its peak. $60, an uncommon card from Cold Snap. It gets reprinted, it tanks to $14. You can imagine how much money can be lost with singles. Another example, Jace the Mind Scalper. Jace the Mind Scalper it has an interesting story. This is the original from Weldwick, currently being traded at $122. James the My Scalper saw a drop in price when it was banned. The card spiked again as it was unbanned in modern. Here you see the spike. Then it was a very good marketing stunt, in my opinion. Then the card was reprinted in Masters 25, and we see a decline. This decline, obviously, it is the result of the reprint. And now the card is gaining a little bit more value and currently being traded at around $120. Obviously, James the My Scalper is one of those cards that could be reprinted in future sets, so I wouldn't even think about spending $120 to buy one of these cards for my collection or investment. I would buy it only and only if there is a reprint, because the price will immediately tank. Gadok Teak, this is another good example. Gadok Teak from Lorwyn, original Lorwyn. This card was being traded at $60 at its peak. $60 for a rare card from Lorwyn. Obviously the card, it's a good card, no doubt about it, but the price of the card, this is only the price this high. It was so much high only because of a low print run during the Lorwyn set. The card gets reprinted in Ultimate Masters, and you can imagine a big decline in price, currently being traded at around $8. Obviously this card was reprinted in rare, so you can imagine how much damage has been done with this reprint. Another very good example, Liliana of the Veil. Liliana of the Veil is one of the most beloved cards and beloved art and beloved planeswalkers in Magic the Gathering. At its peak, this card was $133. We're talking about big money, $133. Obviously get reprinted in Ultimate Masters, and the price tanked to $75. This is the original Innistrad card, the original one, not the reprints. The reprints are usually much more less than the original. I'm talking always here of the original card, the original print run. Now let's see what I'm telling you, why it is more important, or it is much more worth it to invest or collect sealed boxes. Ultimate Masters, a box of Ultimate Masters, and here I have a box of Ultimate Masters sealed. A box of Ultimate Masters. The price of Ultimate Masters, it was between $250 and $300. This has an MSRP of around more than $330, but at release, at pre-release, the box, the sealed product in English, was being traded between $250 and $300. By time, and I'm talking about a couple, 2 years, this set went up in price at eventually nearly $400. So if I bought a Liliana of the Veil at its peak, $130, and now it's being traded at $75, I lost $50. If I bought one of these boxes at its pre-release at, let's say, $300, now I've earned $100. Eternal Masters, this is a beauty of an example. Eternal Masters, here is the sealed box of Eternal Masters. These products at release, these products were very expensive at release. They were being traded around $300. They had an MSRP of $250. They being traded at $300, but there was a reprint, and the price, here you can see the price fall to between $160 and $180 because of a reprint of a sealed product. But you can tell me, if singles can be reprinted, sealed product can be reprinted. Yes, but if a sealed product is reprinted in the case of Eternal Masters, yes, the price tanked, but after 2 years, the box is again at $400. So if I bought this box at $300, it was reprinted, and then I lost some money. Obviously it tanked to $160. I lost $140. If I kept my patient, nowadays I earned $100. Eternal Master, you can see it's a very good profitable product. I bought my boxes when the price was very low at $160. You can imagine how much I earned with this box. Masters 25, Masters 25, in my opinion, it was a very, in my opinion, disappointment of a set. I thought that the set would have been much better for the anniversary of 25th anniversary of Magic the Gathering. The boxes were being traded between $180 to $190. Nowadays, it has a price tag of $215. Iconic Masters, in my opinion, the worst master set out there, even though this is considered to be the worst set in the Master Series out there, and even though we're seeing the boxes, the lowest prices, I think if I'm not mistaken, the lowest prices was around $140. Nowadays, these boxes are being traded to $190. Now, let me show you another two examples. What I mean, why it is important if you want to collect and invest in sealed products. Original Innistrad, yes, original Innistrad, where you can find Liliana of the Fae, Stepcaster Mage, original Innistrad. These were standard boxes, let's say $90 to $100 at that time. Nowadays, if you want to buy one of these boxes, it costs $400, nearly $400. I'm talking about a set that has been released, let me show you, in 2011. In 9 years, this gained 400% of profit. 400%. It's not something small. But you tell me, yes, the original strat is 9-10 years old. Show me something that is recent as an example, and I will show you. Easter Revolt booster box. Easter Revolt sealed in English. Easter Revolt is the second set in the Kaladesh block. You can find masterpieces here. You can find the good masterpieces, the artifact masterpieces. These boxes, these were $90 to $100, normal standard box. The price nowadays, if you want to buy one of these boxes, is $113. The set was released, let me show you, in 2017, that is 2 years old. 2017 nowadays costs $113, and I'm sure that the price of these boxes will continue to go up in price. So even recent products, as you can see, will appreciate in value. As a conclusion, as a very big conclusion, let me remove this. If you want to invest, if you want to collect sealed product and not singles. Singles can be easily reprinted, sealed product, no.